En Argentina nací, tierra de Diego y Lionel, de los pibes de Malvina que jamás olvidaré. No te lo puedo explicar, porque no vas a entender las finales que perdimos, cuántos años la lloré, pero eso se terminó, porque en el Maracaná, la final con el Brasil, la volvió a ganar, papá. Muchacho, ahora no volvimos a ilusionar. Quiero ganar la tercera. Quiero ser campeón mundial. Galdiero, del cielo lo podemos ver. Con Don Diego y con la Tota, alentándolo a Lionel. Hello and welcome to episode 83 of the Football Retro Podcast. I'm your host, Johnny. I'm very happy, very excited, a full table. Mwah. Argentina world champions. How you doing, guys? How you doing, Adasi?
Great. I actually thought you would have flown to Buenos Aires and joined the millions of fans. They're still celebrating, actually.
Not going to lie, I looked at flights.
Did you?
Yeah. Just to go watch the final, they're $8,000.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't want to be single by the end of the...
Whether you were gonna, whether it was worth, I mean, fuck.
Wow.
You probably missed a moment of a lifetime.
Ooh. How you doing, Ak?
Yeah, doing well. Really excited to be here. Want to, share this moment with you and see how it goes. Really excited about all the topics that I know you got lined up ready.
Yep.
I think this is the happiest I've ever seen Johnny on a podcast.
Who would have thought?
Ever.
Happiest I've just ever seen him.
We've gone through so much. The last 2.5 years, Maradona's death, Copa America win, Argentina winning the World Cup.
Yeah.
It's all Argentina. You only mentioned Argentina things.
I know.
Yeah.
So much has happened in the last 2.5 years being an Argentinian in football. How you doing, Fatty?
I'm well, Johnny. I'm well.
You happy with the All-African semi-final one side?
Yeah, absolutely. France and Morocco.
Yeah, I don't know what they say.
The North African derby, as they call it.
Yeah.
Lots to discuss, lots to cover,
Oh.
a lot of happiness, a lot of emotions in the last month, a lot of lack of sleep.
Everyone's well rested. Yeah, it's been a few
Not
days.
really, I still haven't slept.
Used to getting up watching the game, but
That's something else, Johnny.
On that note, let's get the show started.
Welcome to the Football Retro Podcast.
The word welcome, I guess, is stretching it a little when you're an Australian in a place like this today.
Welcome back to a very, very, very special episode of the Football Retro Podcast.
Very, very.
We wrapped up the Qatar 2022 World Cup. Argentina world champions for the third time in history. After 36 years, Messi has finally done it. Argentina has finally done it. Surprised a few. A lot of them were expecting it. Good tournament, big tournament. Unorthodox in a lot of ways. We'll discuss that. What do you take of? Should we start off with the final? Do you want to start off straight into the final, or how do you want to cover this?
Just a general oversight, I would say. Plenty of when you look back at this World Cup, I think a lot of surprises, not just in the group stages, in the round of 16s. The quarterfinal was, fairly, expected in terms of big teams being there, but a lot of drama, heaps of talking points in terms of how FIFA ran it, how the technology was, the stoppage time. There's a lot of new variables that we aren't used to at World Cups. Usually it's just about the teams and how they played and who performed well and not, but there's a lot of other talking points around the football itself, which I think added to the spectacle. And yeah, as you said, Argentina definitely, I don't think anyone, none of us here definitely tipped Argentina to win. I don't think even you would have tipped them to win.
I said Brazil.
I did in that last episode.
To win the final.
To win the whole thing, yeah, before the quarters, I predicted they'd do it.
Yeah.
In the prediction video, I said that they were my pick.
You all picked Brazil, and he said in the
Like everyone now, all of a sudden everyone tipped them, but no one put money.
I said Brazil.
Okay. Yeah, I said Brazil too. I think
Well, it's reverse psychology from you, just to make you feel.
No, he wanted to play Brazil in the semis. Initially. He wanted to beat
That would have been a great semi-final. That would have been
a
like
great
an all
semi-final.
South American, but then I thought to myself, it could have been very physical, very tense, like the Copa America final. So, but anyway, it is Croatia got through, and Argentina ended up.
Let's see what Adasi said. We'll stop the recording for him. Who's going to win the World Cup? Which countries? Throw a name, but then justify just throw a
Brazil.
name.
Brazil.
Argentina.
Answer. All right, so you're right. You predicted Argentina to win.
I did.
We're the only one. I congratulated Brazil in the very next night, the very next morning.
But I
went
said that was reverse psychology.
It was. It
I mean,
was.
that was a
Exactly.
close
I
call,
think
but in
that's
that quarterfinal against the Netherlands, that was close. Man,
Argentina?
what a game that was.
We don't like to do things easily, do we? The Croatia semi-final was a bit more relaxed.
I think
But
that result against Saudi Arabia was a good thing. That going to wake you guys up, and
In hindsight, it was a beautiful
it was
thing.
great. Like
In hindsight, it
you guys
was.
are like, oh wow, this is for real now, and here you are, champions, third star on that
Traffic
shirt.
looks a little bland. That's not as gold as it's supposed to
Yeah,
be.
look, I spoke to Messi. He couldn't drop by on the way in, so I had to get a replica. I couldn't get the real one. Sorry, Fatty. Like this time around, I hope you forgive me.
Close enough.
So it's here. Let's quickly go through the matches that we missed since last recording. England France was a big one, so the French on top of the English.
Yep.
Yeah, I think England. There was a time when they were on top of the French. They were playing better, but then I don't know, just lost it, and then France ended up winning 2-1. Harry Kane missing a penalty to Fadi's happiness there.
Look, I remember exactly what I said. I said if anyone can roll France, England can do it.
Mm-hmm.
They have the personnel to do it
Yeah,
and the structure to do it, but they're just bottlers as always. And
Yeah.
when you have a fucking Tottenham Hotspur leading your line, then you know you're gonna fucking bottle it.
yeah.
And he flopped it. And he flopped it with a fucking penalty. And Craig Foster made a very good point about it, a very good analysis about the penalty, saying that when someone like him who smashes the penalty, you can't have two in a row. You can't have two in a row. It's got to be someone else.
To be fair, out of everyone, person in the whole World Cup to take a penalty, I would put Harry Kane there.
I'll take Ronaldo. To be fair,
It's like Harry Kane's specialty, like penalties.
He's got a good record.
only in the Premier League.
And another thing, England overall in the match maybe were a little bit better than France.
Look,
Yeah.
perhaps. I think everyone's like focusing so much on the missed penalty, but to me, I thought it was pretty damning that in a game that ended 2-1, for England to have two penalties plus a good shout for a third, there was no real other genuine chances, and they stuffed any of the ones that they actually did have, and yeah, I just thought it did show a little bit of lack of edge overall. I mean, maybe because the English team is overall young. But
That's exactly the phrase I was thinking of. They had no cutting edge. They had no
Yeah.
killer instinct about them.
and
They can't kill off a game.
And I think, like, not to make Fatty more happier by smashing Kane more, but I just do think that the burden for the veteran striker, because that forward line is overall young, Kane's the exception. The burden then has to go on here. You're the guy in the box that needs to convert chances. They didn't really have much. I felt like they were toothless. Dominant. They were strong in the midfield. Defense was pretty good, but I thought they were pretty toothless up in the final third.
Yeah,
That's a typical England
And-
trait, though.
and Sterling actually,
Heavy in the midfield.
yeah. And Raheem Sterling actually flew to England because something happened with his family at their home, and he flew black. So maybe that probably put him.
There can't be one player that's going to like. He's not a Messi in that team
But he
for
was.
the team to be that effective.
Would you reckon he should have been a starter? Would Phil Foden should? I thought Phil Foden should have been there.
Look, they're spoiled for options when it comes to midfield and
Yeah.
wingers. They are spoiled for fucking
Yeah.
options.
Yeah, but that's an age-old story with England as well.
Yeah,
It's
they're
more
just
ta- more talent in the sense of
they're not
how to-
cohesive.
Should have been there.
they never have been.
I think the buck stops with Southgate and his tactics. To be honest, I think he's right.
There's rumors that he's going to continue with the project.
He is going to continue. I read that. I don't think he's the right fit. It's going to be much of the same for them. Quarterfinal stage, maybe semi-final of the Euros, and they'll fall short again.
I think England need a real good think about their project and have an overall system and identity of how they want to play. Because to me, they're just like
They don't.
toothless. They're not cohesive.
They
like
have the
you
best.
said,
They have the best players on the field, and that's it.
and that's it.
They don't have a style. They don't have a fucking anything.
No,
And you look at their players in every position, they would walk into most teams,
100%.
but
Yeah.
they just can't seem to make it work.
And if you reflect back on when we were young, the English golden generation, same kind of arguments.
Yeah.
More
Yeah.
talent than a system. Had
Very
no idea
talented,
where you're going to
yeah.
put everyone. How do you fit everyone into the team was always everyone's favorite adage.
It's true.
It's the same thing now.
Speaking of toothless, Portugal.
Yeah, we all didn't predict Morocco would get through. We thought the fairy tale would end there, but well, they did quite well again in that game. And
To win in the 90 minutes.
yeah,
Not taking a bit extra time, penalties.
Yeah.
1-0 win.
Yeah.
Considering we spoke about how much depth Portugal had. They didn't depend on Cristiano. They actually looked better without him.
Yeah.
Good good squad on paper. Morocco surprised everyone.
Yeah, what a tournament they had. They actually didn't fluke their way through that semi-final, and they actually played some really good football. And full credit to their coach Regragui. He had, came in charge 4 months before the tournament started. Recalled Hakim Ziyech, which was a big decision, very important decision too, and paid off. Played really well, and bodes well for 4 years.
Yeah, no, look, you know what? To be honest, as much as you would love to bash Portugal's and their failings here, Johnny, I do think the story is more about Morocco's success rather than Portugal's failure. I think you're right about Ziyech. I think Sofian Amrabat.
Yeah,
was
what a player! Yeah,
midfielder, one of the midfielders of the tournament.
Absolutely, was a gun.
I think, if he plays his cards right, he's earned himself a nice reaction-based big money move.
From Fiorentina, you reckon Fiorentina drive best to keep him though?
Fiorentina also, they like to sell.
Yeah.
So, I think it's more about Morocco's success. Though, having to talk about Portugal for a moment, our last podcast, we said, I asked you guys, who do you put in? Do you put Cristiano Ronaldo into the quarter final? We all said, no, you go with the team that won you so well in the round of 16. However, Luis Figo just smashed the Portuguese coach. And just that's Cristiano Ronaldo you have. It's a quarterfinal. How can he not be starting?
Why didn't he smash him after the Switzerland game?
Hindsight's one thing, I guess.
100%, yeah. No.
Yeah, but I think there's another point here. There's other factors at play that we may not be considering. Now, for that Switzerland game, for example, you sat him on the bench. There was a lot of talk, a lot of drama happening around it. Obviously, the team performed amazingly. They played some good football. They smashed Switzerland out of the park. Ronaldo came on to try and get his customary goal. He didn't. That's fine. Going into the next game, why would you change a winning formula? So that's fair enough. From a coaching perspective, put all things aside, Ronaldo aside, everything. As a manager, your team did this. You reward them. You reward the players with a starting point.
Incentive, right?
Yeah, that's one. That's 2, obviously, you've got a winning formula. You stick with that. You're building a good vibe in the team. The team's excited. Yes, we did well. It's all positive 100%. Reinforcement. So you wouldn't change that. Now, what I'm trying to talk about, the factors that we don't take into play here, many things, but the unsettling shit that was happening with Ronaldo before the Switzerland game and the fact that he's going to be dropped. After the Switzerland game, there would have been more of it because they would have been like, okay, but now it's the quarterfinal, does Ronaldo start or does he not? Ronaldo would be sitting there thinking, I'm going to fucking start. I can't miss 2 games on the bench in a row.
Yeah.
So there'd be a lot of pressure there. The fact that then he didn't name him in the squad would have caused more drama, more pressure. Maybe the players were thinking, fuck, how do we,
what if we lose? And
and there's more shit on us, or should Ronaldo play? Shouldn't that also plays on them mind? They're not just robots. They're not just thinking.
You're right. Yeah.
I've played well. I keep playing like this. So there's a lot of mental shit that would have come into play. I believe that would have affected them because, as fantastic as Morocco were, Portugal were disjointed. They had some chances, but they looked desperate. They were constantly getting frustrated with the referee. They didn't look their natural selves. They didn't look the fucking ability.
Very different from
very different from a Switzerland game. So that tells me that there could have been something there. Well, we may never know.
Are you saying, regardless of whether he played or not, the previous games and the antics and the tension and all that 100%. has just screwed him from the beginning, has impacted him from the beginning?
That chance Ronaldo had at the end, where he went through and shot it straight at the keeper. Do you think he would have converted that years ago, but at his prime? I think he just looked different. He's not the same play anymore.
Hard to tell you.
I think he's lost that. Look, I feel like there was a lot of that game where I forgot who was it Canada? No, who was it? When he tried to claim the goal with the fucking header. Uruguay. Okay. That to me showed what his World Cup was all about. It was about I want to get the most goals. I want to get records. I wanted this. I wanted da. So when it got to that game, all of a sudden it was very Ronaldo centric, and that's why we said Portugal looked better against Switzerland because there was no pressure to playing the ball. Imagine you're a young Felix. You get the ball, you look up, Ronaldo's there. What do you do? If you don't give him the ball, he's gonna fucking lose it at you.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
100%.
You're a junior player in the team. You're not a senior player. So there's a lot of variables there.
That's the things I think people need to understand though is this isn't a Portuguese team of like a decade or so ago, this seems quite talented. Like
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes had a overall really
He did.
strong World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have Yao Felix, who I thought played a couple of the games he played. He was outstanding. You got talent all over that pitch. Rafael Leao. So not only are they not as reliant on Cristiano as they were maybe a decade ago and such, but at his age and the circumstances around him, I would have thought, and I would have loved to have seen him cheer his team on, be a source of positive media content. He should have been the biggest cheerleader on the sideline there for his players.
I
Because
agree.
at 37, mate, that's
should have
what's going to
taken that role.
happen.
I said he's not realizing.
I
Similar,
think-
similar to the role Modric played.
Yeah.
Yeah,
when
yeah,
he needs to
100%.
come off halfway through a game on 60th minute because his body just wouldn't take it in by 37, still was an influential major part for Croatia.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
yeah, he was a leader off the pitch,
Yeah.
as you can
At
tell.
that age, and for those kind of players with their reputation, you're almost a bit of a player coach anyway. You need to be the biggest cheerleader and source of support for your.
I think
teammates.
if Ronaldo now is finished from the national team, the Portuguese, then I reckon that it bodes well for their next tournament. They've got a lot of talent. There's going to be a new manager.
bit of free
A
pressure.
bit of a fresh
No
start, a different
distractions.
page.
Yeah.
I think they have a real shake at fucking the next Euro.
Let's talk about Croatia now. I just mentioned Modric. Did they overperform? I know, Fatty, early on before we started, you said they're going to go far. So underdog, dark horse. They're one of the teams that you mentioned. But it's like they scraped the way through.
Yeah.
They're the first team in history to make it to semi-finals with only one win.
Yeah, that was against Canada, and then they drew the other games. And I feel the team from 4 years before that in 2018 was stronger, much better, fitter. But hey, they hung in there. And they got the results. But,
After they were disciplined, after
Yeah.
they did really well, compact, after they were
Yeah.
very well trained, organized,
Yeah.
took the chances. Modric was very influential. I
Yeah.
think he's very underrated.
and they
For what he
keeper,
did this World Cup, the goalkeeper was massive.
Kovakovic, he had a good tournament. Yeah,
Batman at the back.
Vardiol.
Vardiol.
Yeah,
He was being mentioned as probably the best
Yeah.
defender of the World Cup
Yeah.
until Messi turned him inside out.
yeah. I mean, that was a very
Uh,
slick move. That, but he's still a great tournament.
But he had a great, like defensively, Croatia did really
Yeah.
well to knock out Brazil as well,
yeah,
which were favourites to the comp.
I think what we said, 4 years ago, they were different. They were like they were a younger team, a bit fitter. Modric is obviously in his prime.
Yeah.
But the thing that the Croatians have from is how they're bred. They're a proud people. They're very nationalistic. It's always about dying for the country, for the shirt, for that. So that's why they always are a big country in World Cups, because when you have that shirt on, they die for it. There are other teams, other players that I feel don't do that, other nations that are not the same. Croatians are very proud. So it's one thing that gets them over, just that heart, the fight, the desire. We've got to do it, and the camaraderie, like stick together. You don't hear about a lot of fighting and bullshit behind the scenes with them. It's a very solid camp. And I think that's what
Yeah.
gets them through, rather than the quality of their football. They're playing to their strengths.
Yeah.
They're not as fast as they used to be. Their best players are not in their prime now. They're past their prime. They're finishing their careers. So you got to play to your strength, and they did it well.
yeah.
They did it very well.
I think despite the way they went out in the semi-final to Argentina, which, to be honest, was a bit of a shame. I would have liked to have seen a more competitive match. I love the fact that they went so far in this World Cup, because it just showed again Luka Modric is such a class act and a great ambassador for football. It was a shame that his last World Cup appearance is going to be over, the end of a 3-0. But I mean, that's
Do
the
you
game.
think they just ran out of fuel? The round of 16 went into penalties. The
Yeah.
quarterfinals went into penalties. They're not a young squad either.
100%.
And
I
Argentina,
think,
to be fair, they were dominant in that semi-final.
It's too much for him.
and I
Yeah.
think just moving into the semis, Argentina was just really starting to warm up. You really saw them playing to form. The events from the quarterfinals against Netherlands really just clicked Argentina really into gear.
Fired them up, I think.
Yeah, fired them up a lot. But regardless, whether they ran out of fuel or whether it was just lack of overall talent, whatever the case may be, like I said, it was nice to see them go really far. If they got to the final, it would have been a replay of the semi-final 2018, which would have been record break. I don't think that's happened
Back to
since-
back, Germany, Argentina, 86 and 90.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that what did you say before? It was 36 years?
86 and
86
90.
and 1990.
Yeah. So
86,
32.
36
Yeah,
years.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, like it was really nice to see, and it was a great showing of Luka Modric to see him take his country all deep into the tournament again.
A quick 30-second word on the Dutch, Paddy.
The Dutch, I feel, looked better as the tournament went on. They were very ordinary in the group stages. They just did what they needed to get out of it. Obviously, they finished top of the group. I wasn't very impressed with anything they did. Nothing they did really like set my heart on fire and said, yes, I can see something there. Van Gaal, tactically, I don't know.
A lot of pre-game talk.
Yeah, I'm not
A lot of
convinced.
shit talk
During
that.
the game,
You
man.
told me 30 seconds. You're interrupting now.
I got fired. I should remember.
I know, he got G'd up and he's fucking doing these ones. All right, relax.
Another 30.
Exactamente.
You must hate being diagnosed after that shove he did on Fernandez.
Nah, I feel sorry for him. Fucking.
I
Well,
feel,
from what I read, it's a new record for a World Cup match. 17 yellow cards.
it was
Yeah,
crazy.
well,
I was surprised there was no reds.
It beat the other
It
one.
was already the Dumfries.
2006
Yeah, but
Netherlands
that-
game as
yeah.
well. They had 16 yellow cards, but 4 red. In that
Yeah.
game too.
This one, 17 yellow cards.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so the Dutch, I feel, what they did was expected. It wasn't. They didn't overperform. They didn't underperform. It was just whatever
And then
mediocre.
how clever was that move though for that
They're
second
just
goal?
there. That goal. Look,
That was
in saying that, that Argentina game, I feel like that was the catalyst for Argentina.
yeah.
That fighting, that hunger, that the way that game ended, the way you had to get extra time, they had to dig in and fight, and then they got G'd up, and the bullshit talk, and the math and all that sort of stuff.
Emotionally,
I think
triggered
that-
the-
I
the-
think
the
that-
squad.
That triggered Argentina to realize and say, you know what? Now it's our fucking World Cup. So they went and they steamrolled Croatia, and that's it. When you're in the final, anything can happen.
That's it. And but having go back to it though, it's one of the ballsiest things you could ever see.
Not
That was
expect that.
literally the last touch of the,
Yeah,
of the
let's
game.
keep
I was watching that, and I thought, fuck, this is a real chance. Like, that's a stupid foul to give right on the edge of the box at the death. And then that fucking
And you
move,
saw-
and I thought,
yeah,
wow, that's
well,
it,
yeah.
man.
I went
That's
into a
fucking-
deep depression for about 10 minutes there. Extra time had started, and I was already having a hit list of who's going to queue in the next few days. I better not cross the path with this person. I better not. Lucky we didn't need it.
It's looking at me first, obviously.
I just avoided you. I would have queued you. I should have ignored you, blocked you.
You did go silent in our group chat for about 10 minutes.
I couldn't believe it.
I do want to talk just real briefly about that game because I think a lot of credit should go to the Argentinian coach, Lama Scaloni, because I tipped Netherlands to beat Argentina for that quarterfinal, and I believe it was because of Denzel Dumfries. I thought tactically the way the Netherlands were using him was so profound. But however, Lino Scaloni did a really good job of trying to pin him back, keep him quiet for that entire game, and I think that was the difference for that game.
That's a very analytical fucking point. Man.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
And what about French?
Well, I really like Denzel Dumfries, and I saw, he did really well in the last couple of games before that. So, and Lino Scaloni, how many formations did he use throughout this tournament? So I thought,
You almost changed the.
yeah, so I thought
according-
a lot of credit there.
According to his versing as well.
Yeah.
He played 3 at the back. He played 4 at the back. According to
Played
the
5 at the
position.
back,
Yeah.
played 5 in the midfield, etc. So, a lot of credit there. Sorry, Dusty, what were you saying?
No, I was going to say talk about the French and about them.
Now, speaking of the French, after this World Cup, considering the injuries they had before and during the season, the tournament, do we give Deschamps a little bit more credit?
Not so much.
No,
No,
I
I
don't.
actually think he's nothing special.
I'm
I-
so happy you brought this up.
I-
I'm so happy.
Individual talent.
I agree with Akram on this one. I think
They got too much individual talent.
compared to last World Cup, we thought, fuck, I could have coached them and won it.
Yeah, okay.
This time around, you're missing 3 key players.
But hang on a second.
Rather time you lose players,
Still,
but you're still a World Cup finalist.
Johnny, look
there's
at
still
look,
talent there.
look at the okay Argentina game. Let's look at the final. Look at the fucking subs that came on. Look at the subs that came on.
Well, wait a second.
You could take
Subs are really good subs.
Exactly.
Camavinga
That's
was
my
the-
point.
And Coleman were
That's my
right.
point. So
So you're saying, so what he's saying,
I'm saying
there's
there's depth
there's
there.
enough depth
So you're making
to not give coach
a
the
second. Hang
credit for
on.
the coach.
Hang on. So you're
All right, well, yeah,
so,
go.
you got Camavinga and Coleman coming on. They can't even make the fucking starting lineup. Come on, bro. These guys walk into their club teams.
That's all well and that's all true. But this is coming against
Do they
the
walk-
World Cup. The guy's like 19
Listen,
years old.
Does he walk into his fucking club team?
No, not all the time.
Please.
But regardless, he's 19 years old.
Please.
If you look at the squad, if you look at the starting lineup
It doesn't
for
matter.
the
If you're
French
old-
national team,
if you're
compared to
old-
2018.
If you're good enough, you're old
Camavinga.
enough. That's
But all right, regardless, if you look at this tournament versus 2018, no Umtiti, no Pavard, no Pogba, no Kante.
why did Pavard not make the squad?
He
What
was on the
happened?
bench.
Was he?
Yeah.
I didn't
I
know.
don't know if he was carrying an injury,
Yeah.
but
Upamecano, Kanate, Chouameni. These are all first-time players in this World Cup. A lot of credit has to go to your coach for managing a whole group of fresh young players. Who's the winger? Like, free disclosure. I've never heard of this player until now.
Whether we like it or not, 2 World Cup finals in a row. You got the depth. Brazil's got massive depth. We spoke about England's depth. You've got other squads with depth. This guy made 2 grand finals in a row. Whether we like it or not, some credits. I'm not saying it's all him, it's all the coach, but some credit needs to be given to
watching
the
him play though, a lot of the time, give the ball to
yes,
Mbappe and hope for the best.
I agree. You got to give him some credit, but you've got arguably now after Messi and Ronaldo, they're going to be retired.
Yeah, the next.
It's going to be Mbappe, and then there's going to be daylight before we get someone else. We're not going to have that duopoly of 2 players being the best in the world at the same time. I don't think so. Haaland's going to do it at club level. He ain't going to do it with fucking Norway.
And honestly, Haaland is always, I think, going to be reliant on what his team can provide him. And Mbappe can change the game at any point on his own. So that is true. But then again, like, just to be clear, me and Johnny aren't saying that he's like the best coach out of this World Cup or even top 5. But some credit.
I said okay. Fucking hell. You fucking love this guy.
I think there's a lot of talk now in the French media and everything about how he handled the Benzema situation. And
that's a big talking point.
Situation.
About
he got injured.
He got injured, but then he got sent home. He got sent home.
He wanted to come.
He got sent home, and then a week or 2 later, he was training at Real Madrid's training ground. He played in a friendly, and they're saying that he could have stayed, still been part of the squad, but Deschamps didn't want part of it.
The rumor is, the word is, this is what I've read. A few articles now have stated the same thing, that he managed his injury and he was back training a week later. After the injury, after the injury was announced, a week later he was back. So that's the reason why he was still part of the squad, the extended squad. He was still there. So technically, they could have called him anytime because they didn't get it. They didn't substitute him out. They didn't replace him for anyone else. He could have come back. Now, whether he reached out or someone reached out on his behalf saying to come back, and then the Deschamps said no. We don't know, but clearly there's something there because Benzema on his own socials has already been dropping some comments and saying, "I don't care,
I'm not interested."
I'm not interested. He said something, blah, 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 all straight after rumors came out. So there's something there, and we knew previously there was political fucking bullshit behind.
So Benzema creating problems again.
Please, you got that trash newspaper, L'Equipe, called La Trash, saying that. But the players are happy that he wasn't in the squad. You're kidding me, right?
Is it just because he's Arab? You're very proud.
I know, like
he represented Algeria. All the French.
Algeria, where would he be playing? He wouldn't even be playing the fucking African Cup of Nations.
It would have been good for that team.
They won the World Cup, made it final of the other one with that Benzema. I think they're doing all right.
I'm sure you can't say that they wouldn't have won it with him or without him. He was the problem.
What the fuck?
There's something there.
Look, possibly, but
there's something there. No, I don't care.
I couldn't see what is it.
I'll tell you there's something the one now. Deschamps was an amazing man.
He's announced he was retirement on his birthday 2 days ago. Yeah, for French.
How do you know his birthday?
Put it up. It was on social media. Yeah, so he's done. He's done with the French team.
Anyway, there was obviously previously the controversy with Benzema and Deschamps and all that shit previously.
It was
with the last campaign. We know that. So there is still some of that left over, even though he came back and played for the national team. There's obviously still some underlying shit there.
But they could have used him in that final.
Whether that made a difference or not, who the fuck knows?
I thought of that too, and there was news. Yeah, but do you put in a player who hasn't played for the World Cup
from the start? But maybe at least bring off the bench the Ballon d'Or winner, the quality he has. Anyway, there'll be more to that, I think.
Speaking of quality, how good is Mbappe? We can't ignore it anymore. Or just how much quality.
I was very critical of him for the Euros, and I said, "Yeah, what a fucking flop! Didn't carry his team.
Yep.
What a disgrace! That World Cup, the whole team carried him. That 2018 win, blah blah blah." And I've got to give him credit, considering all the controversy with PSG and all the shit that was happening at that. He really came in and performed in that fucking World Cup. Like, there was one point in that final, I think it was towards the 90th minute, that last chance he had right at the death. Everyone was out on their fucking feet.
Is that when we dribbled past?
Yeah, people were fucking
gassed.
Everyone was gassed. And this guy, and I go, what is this kind of fucking machine? Like, he just kept going. He ripped 3-4 players, and then he still got a shot away.
I want him to hear right now.
And he scored Three
know?
penalties past Emiliano Martinez.
And I looked at him and I'm like,
That's not easy.
nah, this guy's
Look, so
he's,
overall,
he's starting to fulfill that. He's fulfilled
his
the hype.
potential,
Yeah,
yeah.
and considering he's 23, the next 3 or 4 years are going to be pivotal.
He's got at least 2 more World Cups in him. He'll break the goal scoring record for sure.
So maybe dating a tranny helps with your football stamina. No comment?
I don't know why. What's that supposed to? Why is it about me?
Anyway,
The Ninja Turtle.
Oh,
anyway, so moving on from that awkward little moment. To me, okay, look, all credit. Yeah, we can talk about how talented and like how decisive he was, especially in that final. But I did want to point out one bit of criticism, which is, man, this guy offers almost nothing off the ball in defense or pressure, even barely maintaining shape.
yeah, but you know
mate,
what? But hang on a second. Hang on. I'll tell you one. I'll say one thing.
Yeah, okay.
If you're managing a team and you have a player like that can come and turn a game for you on a dime on his own, you'll say, you know what? Don't fucking defend. Just do what you do.
No, wait a second. I'm not even asking him to start.
What do you want the cunt to do? You want him to be fucking everything?
Fucking listen. I'm not asking him to run around like a dog and press every single player, I love, Roberto Firmino. I'm saying he doesn't even try to get into the passing lane. He doesn't even stick out. Like Messi does more than him off the ball defensively than Mbappe all game.
They're different players, but
No, it's not different players, man. He's playing on the wing, and he's not even pressing Molina at like even a little, even 10%.
I get what you're saying, but like Fatty says, you playing your whole game defending with 10 men because you know that's what's going to give you because on attack. It's going to change the whole game.
You know what? If you're sitting back and defending, and he's your only man up top, and you play that ball, you still have a fucking chance.
I get that.
You still have a chance because he's going to beat 1, 2, maybe 3 players and still try and get a shot away.
It's not even that. I'm not asking him to come back. I'm just saying you're not even going. If the ball's over here, the player's over there. He's not even making any physical gesture like I'm going to move over into this space.
Preserving energy.
And he won the Golden Boot. He's got an amazing record. He's got how many goals in
8 goals?
12 and 14
12 and 14.
Overall, yeah.
Appearances.
8 in this one. Same as
23.
Same as R9 in 2002.
That's disgusting.
Don't get me wrong.
I understand what you're saying.
Would like to see him do a little bit more on that side, especially as it is a team sport.
Like you're expecting a lot.
Yeah, I was expecting a lot. I'm expecting to stick one little leg out.
Stick one leg out. This
Yeah.
guy, armchair fucking critic. You're sitting here, I'm saying, oh, put your leg out, you fucking lazy cunt. While you're fucking sinking a can of Coke watching the fucking final.
So now let's talk about the champions for a second.
For a second, just one.
Oh, no, it'll be more than that.
You guys talk first. I'll sit back and enjoy.
I'm going to say again, Di Maria, once again, big game player.
Former Real Madrid player.
No, big game player. He's done it again 3 times for Argentina. Olympics, final 2008, Copa America last year, now in the World Cup final.
He's scored 3 goals in World Cups against Switzerland in 2014.
Yep.
Against France in the last.
Cracker, yeah.
And this one.
He's a big game player. He steps up.
That was
He
a big
steps up.
cracker against France in the round of 16, wasn't it?
And if he played 2014, who knows what, got a bit of difference. But once again, he steps up. Done at club level, done at national team. So he needs to get some credit.
I was
He's
surprised.
the only player going to mention.
No,
Real Madrid player.
no. And also, I'm a big fan of Alvarez as well. I thought he had a very good tournament.
That in at the end there.
He's a good player too.
That's it.
And I think he could start.
And then,
We all should maybe think about starting him more.
Otamendi was good too. Otamendi had a good tournament.
I'm just saying those 2 for now.
I had a decent game.
Talk to about the number 10.
Yes, there's 2, but number 10's a bit.
Martinez was good as well. Put up some save.
I've enjoyed that way too
Leo
much.
Messi finally got his World Cup.
I can't even say it.
Grudgingly.
And that.
It hurts him. It hurts him.
I'm actually fine. I'm actually all right. I'm all good. I'm good. No, he wanted to on that pass for that second goal. Was it? Yeah, that was
The flick,
cracking.
yeah.
That was a
Flick around
cracking
the
goal.
flick with his
That team goal.
back to goal.
That was a great team goal.
Forget that pass. What about the first goal against the Dutch? That assist is out of this world.
Oh yeah, there's that.
For the
too.
Molina goal. I don't know
Yeah.
the vision he had. 1 to see it and 2 to execute it. It's next level.
I mean, that was the drive and determination from Messi that was probably lacking with the national team. And you would criticize him for that. You're saying he doesn't have that, not like Maradona, not a leader. And finally, he showed it.
Hmm.
And he had
You guys talk.
And on that note,
I'm sitting back.
Okay.
is it okay? I thought
Fatty?
the episode have ended.
No.
Look, there's a few standouts for Argentina. Obviously, they started off very slow. and you worried for them even progressing to the group stage based on that Saudi Arabia game.
Yeah.
But these are the teams that generally will win World Cups. They're a slow burn. No one comes out and slams everyone 5-0 in the group stage because, you know, you've got Morocco and whatever minnows in there and you think, yeah, I'm going to pump everyone and go win. Don't forget, you're not going to smash 7 games and win it. You need to get some luck. You need to, some games might have to go to penalties. You might have to go to extra time to fucking win it at the death. There's going to be games where you're going to have to grind it out. It's not going to be 7 straight wins easily. So we already know that. But they started off poorly. Okay. Then they got the results they needed to get out of the group. Just enough. And then after that, that like I said, that Netherlands game for me was a turning point where, they, as you said, they were a slow burn, but they really grew into the fucking tournament. And I felt after that Holland game, I knew they were going to fucking make the final. I knew they were beating Croatia comfortably. And the final, I thought, not because I knew they were going to beat France, but I just felt like it just had to be for them. It had to be. It was the end of an era for a lot of players. Di Maria, you mentioned, was amazing in that final. He played an amazing game considering his age. I was surprised he even started because he wasn't starting the other games. And I thought, why is this guy starting? Is it going to backfire? And fuck, it proved me wrong. Great players. McAllister, the fucking Irish cunt, fucking great. But are you telling me out of how many people, what's your population?
Approximately 45.
Out of 45 million, you couldn't find someone that had an Argentinian name. You had to say pick McAllister.
Didn't his father play in the 90s?
Yeah, but how weird. Like it feels like you bring in some fucking random in. He wouldn't get, but if he was black, he wouldn't play.
He would have been Argentina.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Saying this squad though, like
He
you would not.
migrated to Argentina about 60, 70 years ago.
I was saying, we mentioned it before in the previous show that this Argentinian squad is not as strong as the previous squad, like 06 and 10 and 2002 even. But hey, it goes to show that the best team on paper doesn't always win.
Honestly, that is actually a really important point, I think, because I think in the last 2 years, I think the difference and the approach from the coaching staff has been really. It feels like over the last 20 years or so of Messi's career, they've tried to incorporate Messi as one more jewel in a set of crown, where you have Aguero, Tevez. You're trying to recreate Barcelona, this team of stars. As the Argentinian team overall has decreased in overall quality, I think Lionel Scaloni has decided to embrace Messi as the focal point rather than just as one extra weapon in an arsenal.
I think Messi was always the focal point, and that was to his detriment at times.
For me, the way they played in the last 2 years, he was more the focal point now than ever before. Because
I think he's just matured.
The entire midfield, though, is a midfield consisting of hardworking, up and down box-to-box players, some technical ability, of course, well-rounded, but that entire team doesn't move. And without Messi, but before you had Aguero on one side, you had Tevez on the other. You could have a plethora of talent. Di Maria would start, and in his prime, another top attacking talent. Where this team was defend, counter attack. Let Messi do his thing in the final.
Yeah, but you had players doing that dirty work, and credit goes to for me, he was a fucking whinger all tournament, but I feel like he had a fucking solid tournament. He did a lot of dirty work. DePaul did a lot of dirty work. McAllister did a lot of fucking dirty work.
Enzo Fernandez.
You know, so these players, they're not flashy players.
That's what I'm saying.
They did what needed to
100%.
be done, and yeah,
and their team, their idea, their identity was simple: defend, pack the midfield, counter attack, let Messi find an opening. Whether it was Molina, whether it's McAllister, whether it's Alvarez. And another point about Alvarez, Darcy, I know he already analyzed him, saying he's a good player, but Alvarez is so impressive because he can play almost anywhere along the field. He's a number 9, but in that second goal, he's further back than Messi. He's doing what Messi was doing in years prior, where he's dropping deep and he's linking the play himself. His flexibility when he went into the starting lineup, I think, opened up the attack so much more.
I liked Alvarez a lot more than fucking Martinez.
Lautaro Martinez. Gonzalo Martinez. Lautaro Higuain, maybe a little.
Martinez is in that team.
That Martinez, Lautaro we're talking about, not fucking Lisandro. Lautaro was absolutely honking. He had a very poor tournament for all the hype that he came in with. I don't agree. For me now, he's not a starter. Alvarez is a starter all day, every day.
What happened in the tournament?
Alvarez is not just playing as a striker, as he said, but he presses a lot. He does a lot of work off the ball. He's constantly pressing. He's constantly pressing and chasing.
He was wide. He was,
Yeah.
you know, he was deep. His flexibility allowed Messi then to just move into pockets of space where he wanted to be. Alvarez in that second goal was deep. Flicked it onto Messi. Messi flicked it back to Alvarez, who was then on the right flank. So he moved around Messi very well. And that shows a lot of tactical intelligence from a player who's what, 20, 21?
Yeah.
He's a young
Yeah.
21.
Yeah. So like, you know, really
Still got
impressive.
fucking acne. I thought it was 16.
He had to go from the Simpsons to works at a Krusty Burger.
My God, you're greasy.
Like squeaky boys team. Yeah.
My God, you're greasy.
But
Honestly, if I'm Guardiola, man, you've got to get him into that starting lineup.
yeah, he's got to work in with Haaland somehow. I think get more time.
Very interesting. On the balance of it, I think Argentina deserved to win. They had a solid 80 minutes until they did the standard shitting the bed at the 80th minute. They were dominant. That as a neutral, like if you weren't emotionally invested like these guys were, we were watching the game together, emotionally invested, so they worried about every fucking throw in. The ball was, oh no, and they're fucking stressing out. For me, as a neutral, I could sit back and watch the game on the balance of it. If I'm a punter, the easiest money was on Argentina that game. They were fucking dominant.
Had no shot on goal, France. No first
They
half.
were dominating them for 70 odd minutes. Absolute domination. Slowly, France started to work their way back into it. As soon as they got a penalty, fuck, they shit the bed. Luckily, they didn't shit enough. They were able to clean it up quickly enough to fucking survive.
Yeah.
But on the balance of it, I think rightful winners. Rightful winners,
Yeah.
Argentina. I wouldn't have picked another team. Brazil shit themselves in the tournament. They fucking score in extra time against fucking Croatia, and they thought it was golden goal or something.
Yeah, they
They
didn't
started
they
celebrating.
didn't
like
close
it was
up that
over.
game. They should have closed up that game.
They would have easily closed out that game. They
Yeah.
didn't. They didn't.
Yeah.
Then mentally, they're not.
Honestly, yeah, I know you wanted to get into more of the Argentina talking portion, but to talk about Brazil for a moment, I absolutely agree. I think Brazil's overall idea of Jogo Bonito, of individualism, I think in a tournament like this, you did see its limitation, which is Jogo Bonito is fantastic if you have Ronaldinho on the left, Rivaldo in the center, and Ronaldo up front. But overall, Neymar, and then I know Vinicius is, we love him, but that's it. That's all you had. You did not have a collective. You did not have a system, an idea of what you're going to do.
Yeah, but Jogo Bonito works and worked for that era because opposing teams feed those players coming at them.
That's right.
And then even if you conceded 2, you could score 6.
That's right. That overall
That's the
talent.
difference.
But we weren't saying this when they smashed was it Korea in the round of 16?
Yeah, that's right. But what I'm saying is they got. I think that mentally they were not prepared. They got too complacent against Croatia.
Overconfident.
It was a long game, and then finally they cracked them in extra time.
And they
And
sat
it was
back.
that's it, we're done. So when they copped that sucker punch, 2 minutes before
They were mentally gone.
the end of extra time, mentally that fuck with them.
And
As soon as they went to penalties, I knew they were done.
Neymar not stepping up as a leader to take one. That's
100%. We spoke about that off camera.
Yeah.
Your leading man, your leading penalty taker goes first, especially if you win the toss and you're shooting first. That's a huge advantage.
Messi-
And what did you say in the final? Messi
Messi
one.
went. Mbappe went first,
Yep.
and Messi went.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the penalty that Argentina got, Messi took it, and the penalty that France got, Mbappe took it.
Yeah.
That's it.
No question. Your best penalty taker, your leader, when it comes to that, your finisher takes them. No question.
Yeah.
Especially when it's a penalty shootout and you win the toss.
Yeah.
Because when you take that first one, you score.
Get confidence
That's
to
a
the team.
big.
You
That's
set
a.
the tone.
pressure.
Not just that. The pressure's on the other team.
Morale
Now
booster.
I have
Yeah.
to score, otherwise we're behind.
Yeah.
I have to score. Not okay. We're going first. If it doesn't, I could get lost in the other.
and
penalty
be
kicks.
the hero later. But
Yeah.
that didn't happen.
So
Look, I think Argentina, first of all, they finished the tournament very different to when they came in regards to starting lineup.
Yeah.
When I said it before in one of the episodes before when we were analysing the teams coming in, starting 11 off by heart, you would have picked it. It changed a lot throughout the tournament. And your ideal 11 was very different to when it first started. Lo Celso got injured, he was out. Paredes came with little game time into the tournament. He didn't make the starting 11. So McAllister and Fernandez were in starting 11, but they won by coming off the bench and performing. So cemented the place in. Martinez was underperforming up front. Alvarez came in, scored goals,
Yep.
won his position. Left back changed between Acuna and Tagliafico.
Yep.
And even Romero as a centre back was a bit hesitant. As a
yeah,
base,
he
but
was at some.
Lisandro Martinez came in, Pezzella came in, the back 5, back 3 changed. So, like you said, credit to Scaloni, who's a new coach, first coaching
Absolutely.
experience, and got thrown in the deep end after Russia scandal, who stepped up, did the job. not only won this World Cup, but let's not forget the Copa America last year was massive. The
Yeah.
finalissima against Italy was pretty big. The 35, 36 games unbeaten until the Saudi game.
Yeah.
That Saudi game was, well, a lot of us Argentinians were like, fuck, here we go again. The expectations, the heartbreak, we want to win this, and yet first things a reminder of 02 World Cup comes to mind, where we're favourites to win the whole thing, and then group stage, is this going to happen again? Are we going to be heartbroken again? It's very emotional, especially what the country's going through. And as the tournament went through, I don't think people understand or appreciate how important the goal against Mexico was, because the first game against the Saudis and the first half an hour against Mexico were fucking disgusting. There's no going about it. The team showed no creativity, it's like they were nervous. It wasn't the same team that performed in the Copa America. That goal that Messi scored against Mexico outside the box, it was like a click. And after the second half was much better. It was the original Argentina we're used to. And the little fucking dwarf stepped up.
And they made Mexico look very ordinary that game. And I was worried about that game, that after that they could go home after this, because Mexico are a decent side, but they made them look average.
And then Poland came, and Poland were a big threat.
Yeah.
And after the Poland game was even more dominant.
Yeah.
Because Mexico had a few chances. Mexico looked strong. Poland didn't even look in the game at all. And that's when you think, okay, here we go. The Australia game, once again, as the tournament went on, every game, apart from the Saudi, every single game that Argentina played, whether it was penalties, whether it was a draw, they deserved to win. The Dutch game, they were better. The French in the final were better. Croatia, they were better. Australia, they were better.
Yeah.
Now, you don't win games by deserving to win, but it makes a difference when you hold the ball, and it just showed character.
Yeah.
And for the first time in a long, long time, there's a connection between the people of Argentina and the national team. And that was evident this morning when 4 million people were in the streets parading, waiting for the parade to come through.
Yeah.
That's probably 10% of the population of your whole country in one city, walking around the streets waiting for the team bus to come through. The president announcing a national public holiday. Everyone's united for the same. Yes, I was in Argentina when they were playing friendlies or qualifiers, and people weren't watching them because they didn't care. Messi was in the team. I'm talking to taxi drivers who put their radio on, people that did not care about the national team playing. This time around, I'm telling you, it was completely different. Every single person, even the people, my mates overseas that did not care, had a jersey on, family together every single game.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is what this team generated. You're talking about a country that's got 30% or so under the poverty line. You're talking about a country that has 200% inflation in the last 2 years. 21 years ago, on this exact date, 20th December, 21 years ago, people were on the streets because the economy had collapsed and the president had to leave on a helicopter.
I remember that,
The same fucking day, 4 million people are celebrating. It's much bigger than football. It's not just
fucking
football.
deep.
Yeah.
It's not just football, and that's what people don't understand. We live in a country where, unfortunately, it's a different culture when it comes to football, but this impacts the whole country, the economy, the social mood, the social status of people. The whole country changes over one football game or one football tournament.
Yeah, it really united the people.
You were next to me on the final, and I didn't know what was going on in the penalties. I was that emotional. I didn't know what was going on.
Mate.
But when the last penalty, and I don't want to get emotional now, but when the last penalty went in, a lot of things crossed my mind. And it's not just football. Like it's family. It's people that aren't here with us. It's a lot. So this win is not just a World Cup trophy. It's a life-changing moment for a lot of us. And 36 years in the making. I didn't know if I was going to leave it in my lifetime. I didn't know if I was going to see it in my lifetime, and not only to experience it, but to see it done by Messi. It's something that I think we'll take with us for the rest of our lives. And I don't think we appreciate just what we lived through last weekend.
Yeah, it's a once in a lifetime thing, 100%. And this is what made this one so special, because you had the ending of an era of, arguably the two greatest players of our lifetime anyway. And you were hoping that one of them would at least go out on a high and say, you know what, out of the two greatest, obviously two can't win it, but one is at least going to win it. And for me personally, I've always been a Messi fan as a player who's naturally gifted, because I enjoy that style of football. And it would have been sad for him not to win it, considering he made the final, to then go out. Because I look at the French team and I think, you know what, they still have another 2-3 World Cups in them.
Yeah.
Most of the squad. So they'll have another one. They'll have
Yeah.
another crack next World Cup, maybe the one after as well. But for Messi, this is it.
Yeah.
He's not making the final again. So it was huge. It's huge for a lot of people, as Johnny said, and this is why football overseas is so massive, because it's people's lives. This is their life.
And
It affects. Sorry,
No, you mentioned that. Martin Tyler in the commentary in the final said that. I don't know if you heard it, but people in
he
Argentina,
doesn't like
people in
that.
Argentina sold their houses to go to the tournament. Now that's something. That's
Yeah.
something. That's like you sell your own house to go.
Because you know this is what made this World Cup bigger for them as well. It's Messi's last, and then it's that that Maradona thing as well. It's his last thing. Is Messi ever going to be that height? Is this going to be the person that brings Argentina back to that glory, or is they're going to live off 86 forever?
Yeah.
So that's what it was. It was huge. It's massive.
Can we just talk about Messi for a second? Because I don't like, as much as we know what Messi is and what he represents and how good he is, and 7 Ballon d'Ors and Barcelona and blah blah blah. I don't know about you guys. I did not expect this tournament from him. The way he stepped up, not only as a leader, but on the fucking pitch. He was criticized for walking. Yes, he walked a lot during the pitch, but that's knowing your own game. That's self-awareness. That's not knowing that you can't sprint for 90 minutes. You can't do the pressing they used to do 15 years ago. But some crucial goals against Australia. Australia was very well compact in defense. He broke the game open against Mexico. We mentioned about that. Yes, Argentina were given a few penalties, but he converted most of them. He missed the Polish one. As a leader off the pitch, the way he blends in the squad, the anger he showed in the Dutch game, the anger that he showed against the coach, going up to Van Gaal and going like this, and then after the game going like talking shit about him before the game. That the Maradona style of leadership that he showed in some of those games, and I hate the comparison, but it's not something that we've seen a lot before from him.
Yeah.
And he's come to himself. He comes to his own this World Cup in a way. That Croatia semi-final, wow. Like that second goal was the second or third goal. Alvarez's second goal, Argentina's third goal. Just watching him run and turn, and Alvarez just tap it in. What are we watching? This guy's 35. He should be on his way to retirement. Like, let's not forget, Maradona at 31, he was done.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a 35-year-old who just played his best World Cup of his life. Better than the one in Brazil, better than the one in South Africa by far, and definitely better than the one in Russia.
Yeah.
At 35, he stepped up right at his last one. It's like he was saving it all for this, and everything just came together.
It's 5th World Cup, He's played in 06 as a
19-year-old. 06 against Serbia.
As a 19-year-old,
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy, but it was do or die for Messi, and I think his performances reflected that. He knew that this was his last tilt, his last chance at the World Cup, and mentally he was there. Mentally he was there, as opposed to other tournaments, as opposed to other World Cups specifically. He was there mentally, and he led the team. And I think there was a lot of youngsters in that team coming through that looked up to him, and he just carried them. They helped him through. They worked for him. That's what it looked like. They looked like the players were working for Messi.
You see when they got the winning penalty, and then you see the players. Some of them ran up to him on the halfway line, and
I didn't see shit.
This guy didn't even know. This guy up to. I'm saying to him, if fucking France miss this, and he goes, "What if they miss?" I go, "If they miss, you win." He goes, "Are you sure?" I said, "You scored 3. If they miss a third one, you win." And he goes, "Are you sure?" I said, "Right, this guy. He was not here.
I wasn't on planet
He
Earth.
was not planet Earth. He was not here."
I do think.
Did you go back and watch those penalties?
10 times since.
Okay, so you know what happened then.
Yeah, and I don't think I can't remember last time I cried that much after that Montiel penalty wedding. I just put my head down and just cried and cried and cried.
He was crying at the pub. He was just crying.
Yeah. That's football for you.
Emotions.
Yeah.
90 minutes, 90 emotions.
And as much as we don't like comparisons, we enjoy them, but it's not what football's about. There's a lot of talk of this Cristiano Messi debate. Do you think it's settled?
I made this comment on our last podcast, and I said I would love for them to play each other to settle this debate once and for all. You can't argue now that there is even a debate. Unfortunately, you can't.
To me, the high debate now is the Maradona Messi, not the Messi Cristiano.
No, I don't think even that's a debate.
So we think that Messi overtook Maradona.
I think Messi overtakes now. We mentioned this before in the Maradona episodes, and I said the only thing that's missing from resume is this. But it's not just that; it's the way he did it, how late he did it, as well. I feel like it. not taking anything away from Maradona, but I think Messi needs to be revered in that same way in Argentina.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say, oh, they have to say Messi is better than him, but it has to be at least revered in the same way.
And after this weekend, I think he will.
Yeah, like it's justified. Like there was a lot of criticism of Messi in Argentina, after the World Cups, after the fucking Copas, they're saying, oh, he doesn't turn up for the national team, but he does for Barcelona, all that bullshit. I think everyone no one can say that anymore.
No, clearly not. I mean, look,
They can't now.
I
He's
think
got to
we've
be of
seen-
the same stature, at least.
100%. Like I think we've seen a real maturity or a real maturation of Lionel Messi in the last couple of years. I think he's really embraced the pressure and burden that his nationality has placed on him. I think it's something that he might have always kind of resented, never asked for, but he's in the last couple of years has realized that that's the spot that the world and that life has asked of him, and he needs to embrace it and move on and get on with it. And I think he has. It's a tough thing. I mean, he was 35 now, 34 last year. It's a tough thing, even in your mid-30s, man. There's a lot of growing up sometimes to do, especially in a spot like that. None of us can really relate to those pressures. And I thought it comes out in his game. It came out last year in the Copa America, and it came out in this World Cup. I thought it was very noticeable, not just in his game, but in the moments after scoring. How many times did he when he scored a penalty, he would run straight to the people.
I'm curious to see now. He's won the World Cup. The shackles been released. He's got that monkey off his back. Now he's going to go back to his club at PSG to see whether there's a chance that they could go on
Champions League.
Maybe that's the goal.
I don't think he needs it for his own
No, not for him, but
not for his personal
And
repertoire.
to say PSG have never won it before. This
Genuine
project.
question. I asked the other day, and I don't know the answer. Is there anything he hasn't won that he's played for? He hasn't won,
Hasn't.
personal or team wise, national, club, personal, any trophy.
I mean,
that
he won
won?
Olympics. He won. Did he win the under-20s?
Under-20s World Cup?
Yep. Olympics.
Men's
Copa
World Cup,
America,
Copa America.
club level Champions League, Copa del Rey, La Liga, French League. Yeah, I think he's pretty much done it all. Club World Cup and stuff like that. All that
And
list.
haters will say he hasn't won the Premier League.
That's what I'm saying. Things that he played, the things that he
Yeah.
played in.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't won the Argentinian League either, has he?
Look,
He hasn't won the A League, has he?
That's right.
I
No,
think it's tough. I think
That's why the comments they were saying were Messi's completed football now. He completed the game.
Yeah, and that robe they made him wear the king of the king of football wearing that.
Speaking
Fuck that
of,
robe. What the fuck was that?
speaking of-
Let's
speaking
make
of-
it now.
I thought it was a little awkward, Fatty. Like, what do you? I thought it was.
it's unnecessary.
Yeah, and
There's
it's a
nothing
bit.
to it.
What do you mean?
It was a
Right.
spotlight right in the moment.
It's an honor to wear that.
Right in this nation's moment that they've been,
But he's
desperate
stuffed up-
for 36 years.
He
And
stuffed up my tattoo. Like I can't get a tattoo of him wearing a bathrobe. Looks like a Victoria's Secret, it's lingerie.
It's very secret.
Yeah,
Very
well,
secret for
not
the bathroom.
secret, But anyway,
But he's supposed to wear a white under it.
but there's pictures of that saying, fitting for a king of football to wear that, like a king.
I haven't seen that. He must have been reading Saudi media.
Anyway,
I was going to ask you,
What do you think of the Qatar organization of the World Cup?
look, we've discussed this before. We can go on about it, but I read and saw
Yeah, I'm
so
gonna
many.
go.
I read and saw so many posts and videos of everyone from Aussie fans, South American fans, everyone saying how great of a tournament it was. It was safe. Apparently, no English fans got arrested,
Oh, wow.
which was very unique. It was family friendly.
They didn't get arrested because no alcohol.
The unique, well, that's good. That's a good thing. The unique thing as well that everything was so close. People were able to attend multiple games. The hospitality was great. So that's what I'm saying. It was a good World Cup.
So it was worth
It-
1,000 people dying.
Okay, there was the migrant laws need working, and they've been needed with or without the World Cup. They need working, and I know not just in Qatar but everywhere. But a lot of countries have migrant laws issues. They do. So overall,
So don't get me wrong, I'm happy that
I saw the video.
Johnny,
You guys
Johnny.
the streets of Qatar, man. Like you guys were having a great time.
I mean, they're all Bangladeshis.
No,
No,
actually,
actually
they're
didn't.
looking like him. They were actually
Look
wow.
Not-
Yeah, look alike. Yeah, look alike.
looking like him. White. Trying to say they were white,
South American looking.
white Italian Anglos.
But yeah, Bangladesh, they were going
South
crazy.
American
too.
looking. Wow.
They were going
It's a
crazy
big
too.
continent,
Bangladesh.
They're the only people in South America that don't look like anyone else because they look European.
And
The other South Americans all have blacks and shit.
It's about the
Anyway, a big brush there.
about the football itself. This was the highest scoring tournament.
Deviating from topic.
They all look like him. Wow. If you said that to a black person right now, you'd be arrested.
That looks like same thing. They look like that came from.
It's been a stressful month for you, hasn't it, Darcy? It's been a stressful month. Running that propaganda machine every day, man. It's been stressful.
From what I heard, like it was very
From what you heard.
well organized. Fans were really happy.
Okay, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
What it was so organized. What do you think about Salt Bay going on the fucking field, touching the trophy?
Lisandro Martinez about to. I saw Lisandro Martinez about to kick his ass for a second. But
What
yeah,
the
like,
fuck was that? That was the
I don't know,
cringiest thing I've ever
it's an
seen.
accreditation to be on the field, but he's just promoting himself, and yeah, it was a bit cringe, very cringe actually. Like
The worst shit I've seen, bro.
like,
Fucking
I'm
horrible.
there trying to take a photo. He's in there like I'm telling, like, move away.
And it's pulling at Messi, and Messi like sees it and good. And he's like, no, pull him again.
That
And
entire-
Messi in front of the camera.
He's trying to do that.
That
thing
entire
with his-
ceremony was really awkward. I think there was a
Yeah.
lot of
But,
politics in play there.
That
Absolutely.
motion
lot
there,
of
like I saw
grandstanding.
Batistuta crying as well in the studio.
I saw Cambiasso was there.
A lot of players.
Sorin,
Sorin, Crespo,
Sorin was there, that's right.
Zanetti.
Zanetti. But if you think this team, Argentinian team, like they've been talked about the antics, the tactic, the gamesmanship. This wasn't seen before from the previous teams. Well, like I don't recall like having guys like Javier Zanetti doing the stuff I saw that these guys. But I guess you got to do what you got to do
It's
to get them the
different.
skin.
It's different mentality.
I don't think that's.
Well,
anything
are you referring to the Dutch game or are you referring to any other games?
Yeah, like they're saying, oh,
Throughout the game,
during the tournament, they're saying like they were, dirty and like, what do you say that?
It's not like you're trying to take.
Give me
away-
examples, but like,
Mate, I think regardless of what examples, as a general thing, small percentages all count. Even the 1% counts, and that's
Yeah,
they're
well,
the
you
difference.
gotta-
They're the difference between winning and
You got to do
losing.
what you got to do.
So I'm all for that
They're
shit.
fighting for it.
part of the penalty shootouts, if you see Martinez, it's all mind games. That's with the
Yeah.
opposition. He throws the ball away.
Yeah.
He goes, shakes the hands. He goes, talks to them. He goes, "I've seen you. Like I'm gonna eat you." Like
Yeah, he did it against Colombia in the Copa. Yeah.
that's what he's famous for. Like the difference is that you could hear it in the Copa America because there's no crowd.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's COVID. Yeah.
Whereas you watch the French game, he gets the ball and he throws it away. Who's the person that kicked it out? Camavinga?
Try the shootout.
Yeah.
Try many.
Chameni.
And he shot out.
Yeah.
He had to go get the ball down there because Martinez threw it out. Like it's all.
Yeah.
I don't know if he can. If it would have made a difference, but he would all. It's all.
And
mind
also like Spain are losing the first game and going on to win it.
2010.
10. Wow.
I think like we've all started talking, we started mucking around. We kind of got away from the overall point. I think, which is probably the most important point of the whole conversation is Messi's place amongst the all-time greats.
The legacy.
The legacy. I think as a story, as the way it's laid out, his performance match after match, especially in the knockout component of the World Cup from the round of 16 onwards, was every match.
Yeah.
He was part of the story. There was not one match in which someone else stepped up. Yes, other players did step up every match, and it was one game it was Enzo Fernandez, another game was Julian Alvarez. But every match, consistent story was Messi.
He's got the record for most man of the match awards at any World Cup. So
5, 6.
not just this World Cup, but like overall.
Yeah.
World Cup. He's got the record for most appearances at the World Cup, most captain player, most assists, most assists in 5 different World Cups. But I think you're right. He's been criticised in the past, especially the Brazil World Cup. Yes, I just didn't make the final,
Yeah,
but he didn't score any goals in the
and I was very
knockout
from
games.
or assists from the
He-
quarterfinal
He
onwards.
didn't step up anything. He didn't. Whereas this World Cup,
It's complete
every
opposite.
single game he was there.
He was coming up clutch. He was crucial.
Would you say this is a big question for all of you guys here? This is a bigger performance than Diego in '86.
Uh,
I would say yes, considering his age, the onus on the team that this is his last World Cup and that he's retiring. There's a lot of fucking added components to it. With Diego, you didn't know he still came back afterwards. He came back in 90.
he was especially in his
94.
prime.
And
at that time.
Diego scored 4 goals. Yes, the quarterfinals and semi-finals, England and Belgium.
Yeah.
But like I said, Messi scored an assist in every single game.
Maradona did set up the winning goal in the final.
Yeah.
He brought
And
Thiago
it was a nice
Germany.
little.
But
it was a
what I'm
good
saying, the
little touch,
difference
but-
is Maradona's in his prime. This one, Messi is in the tournament knowing that this is his last tournament, and the pressure of you haven't done it. You haven't done this.
36
This is the last
years.
time you're going to have a chance to go at this. You lost the first game of the fucking World Cup. The odds are against you.
Honestly, it's
it's a
such a
very
big
big-
question, though. It's hard to even have an answer.
You just sound like you're sitting on the fence. You don't want to answer it.
Honestly, yeah,
if I
because
answer it directly.
mate, you're always the more braver one than between the two of us. So
I
I
mean,
give you
that
that
into
credit. But
play those variables, and yeah,
for me, it's like, but what's really hard to answer is that you would have to really go back and look at the players in the '86 Argentinian team, because comparing talent to talent is hard to tell. What was this player A looked at compared to player A in the 2022 team? But I think regardless of what the answer is, the fact that you could honestly compare it at all, the fact that it is in the same realm, I think that says it all. But regardless of that question, Johnny, it's for me, I think the career he's had, the club career he's had, which has been almost unparalleled. There's only been 2 or 3 players that you could even come close from a club perspective. I think the last 2 years, and especially this, has been a real fairy tale ending for him. I think it's been decisive. You know me, how I do think it's conclusive that he is the greatest of all time.
Regardless, it's 1-2 Argentina. On that note, it's the last episode of 2022.
Yeah.
good
So
one.
I wish you all Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays.
Happy Hanukkah, Mazel Tov, whatever
Enjoy your
you
break.
celebrate.
And as you raise a glass this New Year's, don't forget Messi. See you guys next year.